Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Teaching Time from Shiya's Mentorship Circle. This is an open and free public preview of the teachings that I do on Shiya's Mentorship Circle, so please be aware your comments may be public, even if you're coming from a private group. Although if you are coming from a private group to watch this, your comments probably will not have your name associated with it. It'll just come up as Facebook user. So, hey, say hi when you get here. Let me know who's tuned in. I see a couple of you here. Today's topic is going to be spiritual gifts and practices. So, if you'd like to have some people get involved and join in and maybe talk about some of the things that they may have or you may have as your spiritual gifts, this is going to be a great time to chit-chat about it. Okay, so please do consider inviting your friends to learn a little bit about some spiritual gifts. We're going to be going through quite the list today, and as we have questions, feel free to interrupt. Feel free to throw your questions in there. And hello, Lisa. And we will actually have the chat up and available. I'm going to turn the music down a little bit now that we're talking, but we'll have the chat up and available so you guys can kind of communicate with one another as we are talking about these things, and we can see what some of the topics and questions may be across the board. Again, we are not doing readings this live. This is all about learning about spiritual gifts and spiritual practices, and no question is off limit. Now, I may, if you send in trolley questions, I may giggle and I may redirect and I may just say, okay, that's, whatever, but there's no such thing as a stupid question here, guys, so throw them out there. How are you, Miss Lisa? Good to see you. Say hi when you get here, guys. Let me know you're here. It's always nice to see some friendly faces. Hello, Rosemary. How are you, my dear? So, yes, there are a lot of spiritual gifts out there, and that's one of those things that really comes up on the semi-reg, which is, Shiya, what are my gifts? What gifts do I have? That sort of thing. What are some of the different clairs? And everybody always talks about clair this, clair that. There's a lot more than just the clairs that are out there, folks. And I have this lovely, stupidly comprehensive list of stuff in the actual mentorship circle that covers all of this. Meanwhile, let me just kind of put a little something out there for those of you who don't know what the mentorship circle is. Here's a little bit about it. Have you been wanting to grow in your spiritual path? It's time to join the circle. Shiya's Mentorship Circle is a place where we can learn and grow together. It's a private community that's committed to spiritual growth, group support, and learning. You can learn at your own pace with 24/7 access to a wide range of topics presented through videos, writings, and original content on all kinds of spiritual topics, and access to my ever-growing Book of Shadows. All spiritual paths and walks of life are welcome in this circle. On top of all that, Mentorship Circle members get free readings every Monday on my live show, discounts on live readings and workshops, classes, group therapy, and group chats for support and direct mentoring. Join today, get connected, and start living your best life. Learn more at ladyshiya.com. Now, I do these little free teachings once in a while for two reasons, really. If you want absolute honesty, which I fully believe in, which is one, I feel like it's an important topic that other people would like to get a little insight in, and two, a little teaser to show people what the circle is all about. Now, all of these videos are up on the circle for you guys to rewatch at any point, for those who are in the circle to discuss and ask questions on. So now the free ones that are out here, they're great, but you're not going to have some of the other information that I might reference here and there, such as this comprehensive list. Now, for those of you who are in the circle, go and look at the comprehensive list, because we're going to be kind of I've got it up in front of me in my Word format from my digital book of shadows so that we can kind of go through it. And again, anytime you guys have questions, throw them out there in the moment. Don't wait for me to shut the fuck up, because you know what? I don't shut the fuck up. It's not something I'm good at, shutting up. I'm an Aries. We talk. It's what I do. So if you're interested in joining the circle and you haven't joined the circle yet, then Lisa, it might be something you might want to look into. Step into the circle at songsview.com. Your first month is $15, and it comes with a welcome reading on my next live, as well as free readings every Monday, and all this teaching shit that I do. So let's start off with some of the different spiritual practices and kind of go through it. So aromancy. That's one of the things, and yes, if you're going to realize in a minute that this is alphabetical, okay? And stop me on anything you have additional questions for. Aromancy is one of the favorite things, something that we learn as children, which is divination based on looking at the shapes of clouds, okay? And there's a lot of people that post their pictures online and say, hey, what does this look like? What does this look like? What does this look like? We as a species tend to like to find meanings in the shapes that we see, and we have definitely turned this into a divination style, okay, or allowed, because we see correlations between the things that nature shows us, nature teaches us, things like that, and you'll see a lot of that throughout this list. But aromancy is looking, basically taking the time to stare up at the clouds and look at the shapes in the clouds, but taking it the step further and saying, what does that mean? What does that mean to me? Okay, so cloud formations can give you insights into yourself, your psyche, answers to questions, insights to future events, cloud watching, aromancy, afterlife communication. Many people think that mediumship is only communicating with the afterlife, and I will get into that a little bit later when we get down into the M's, but afterlife communication is only one facet of mediumship, okay? I had to light my smoke. So afterlife communication is specifically talking to people who have once been living, people or even animals who were once living and now aren't. Okay, and there are different levels of afterlife communication. Mediumship goes further in depth than just afterlife communication. But most of the time when somebody who does afterlife communication is a medium does not necessarily do afterlife communication. Allomancy. This one's kind of fun. This is like using salt crystals. You throw them up in the air and interpret the patterns as they fall. Now, people have used salt with this. People have used sand, dirt, other kinds of things with this, but it's basically throwing it all up into the air and looking at the patterns as they fall. Again, like I said, the common thing is patterns. How many of you see patterns in things? Jesus in your toast or on a corgi's butt. I've seen Jesus on a corgi's butt before. Buddha in your mashed potatoes. Hey, look, if there's a dog in the clouds, Oh, that looks like a unicorn. Hey, that looks like an angel. How many of you guys do that? Or, look and see a house and man, that looks like a face. That's a human behavior kind of thing to do. You know what I mean? So this is just another way of doing it. Anthropomancy is an old one using traditionally human entrails. This one, thankfully, is not used literally so much anymore. Lisa only ever seen hearts everywhere. That maybe because, you have a focus on love and giving and caring. And so you're seeing signs. Do those hearts ever kind of direct you to go left, go right, go this way, talk to that person? Do you ever look to see what the significance of when you see hearts are? But yes, the human entrail thing, it evolved eventually into like animal entrails and using those. Nowadays, it's a metaphorical thing to understand human behavior or motivations. Thankfully, not so much done anymore. Okay. Pantomancy, that one's fun. Pantomancy is interpreting encounters with animals, especially if they're unusual or unexpected. This one is just fun, especially if you're going on nature walks, Oh, I saw a chipmunk. A chipmunk came over and sat on my foot. Oh, there's a doe. There's a badger, And it's like the appearance of these animals. I had a friend, Roncy, tell me about a very cool epantomancy experience that she had recently, to where she was dealing with somebody, and on her way home, a fox that was being chased by a raven literally came right in front of her car, stopped, looked at her, looked back at the raven, which ravens, of course, are spirit messengers, and then stared back at my friend Roncy and then ran off. And she had a very strong message and interpretation from her animal encounter. That is epantomancy. Yes, it actually has a word to it. So if you are Snow White, and you're out there doing your Snow White thing, and the bird lands on you, or the butterfly lands on you, or you see a dragonfly, you are actually using and interpreting spiritual gifts. Here's the big one. Astrology. Yes, that is the interpretation of the celestial bodies and how they influence human affairs. Now, astrology, there's so much that kind of shows just how relevant it is. I guarantee you most of you know your sun signs. What's your sun sign, guys? Tell me what your sun sign is. I am an Aries. Okay, that is astrology. I do a weekly astrology report, and I've been putting daily astrology posts up. So we'll see if I can continue doing that or not. It took a lot of work to do just for a week, so we'll see. Doing yard work while listening sounds great, Jen. At least you're not in Oklahoma, where they're battening down the hatches yard work for potential tornadoes. All right. But we're all fairly familiar with astrology, and just like any other divination, it is not the end-all and be-all of everything. It is simply an indicator and an indication. You're Pisces. Ooh, the emotional, the gifted. Good afternoon, Sid. How are you? What spiritual gift do you feel like you have, my friend? Next one we're going to look into is astral projection. This is where you actually leave your conscious body and travel in the spiritual plane. This can be used for exploration, communication. You can do remote viewing with it. You can visit other planes of existence. Dream travel is sometimes astral projection or astral travel, also the other name for it, but it is literally leaving your consciousness and your physical body to go kind of wandering about the universe. Do not recommend doing this unless you have a protective circle around your body and your body is in a nice, safe place, okay? Augury. This one is, you've heard of this, I'm going to cast the auguries, especially if you watch shows such as Rome, Gladiator or something. Let me consult the auguries, or 300, okay? When they went to go see and cast the auguries to see if things were auspicious, weal or woe. This is originating from ancient Rome. It's the behavior or flight patterns of birds. Augurs will interpret these as messages from the gods. They kind of look at the birds. How are the birds behaving? So if you're turning around and saying, okay, I'm seeing a cardinal show up, and a cardinal has a message from beyond the grave. I'm seeing starlings. I'm seeing this. I'm seeing that. You're doing the auguries. You're getting messages from birds, and birds are said to inhabit between the worlds of the gods and humans, because we're stuck here on the ground and the birds fly, so they inhabit the sky realm, so they can easily travel between the realm of the gods and the realm of the mundane. Aura readings. How many of you are like, I need to work on my aura? How many of you can actually see auras? There is a field of energy that surrounds everybody, and sometimes they have colors, feels, emotions. Some people perceive somebody's aura as an emotional thing, especially if they are an emotional empath of some kind. Others see colors, patterns. Sometimes it's a general overall energy. Some of us, especially when doing Reiki, can identify using auras, blockages in chakras, specific areas of pain or problems, physical ailments, that sort of thing. So auras can go very much in depth into a lot of things. Automatic writing. Any of you guys ever done any of that? Automatic writing? Automatic writing is where you kind of put yourself in a bit of a trance state, and you just sit there with a pen and hovering the pen over a piece of paper, many times just starting to just kind of move your hand in random things, and while you're in a trance state, just allow yourself to write. And don't even think about what you're writing. You're allowing a spirit or something to come through, your subconscious, something to come through, and actually start writing messages. And when you come out of your trance, you read the messages and interpret them, or the drawings. You know, I've seen automatic writing used in artwork and in drawings, you know. Also, again, highly recommended when you're doing anything like this and you're opening yourself up to any kind of channel to another spirit, that you surround yourself in a circle, in a protective white light, anything like that, so that you are, and set your intentions, so that you are not putting yourself out there for, you know, kind of like a Ouija board. Everybody always talks about how dangerous Ouija boards are if you don't protect yourself, yada, yada, yada. Well, you can open yourself up for a conduit of not good energy, okay? So whenever you're doing something like an automatic writing, then you want to make sure that you have set a protective circle for yourself and you are protected, not opening yourself up to negative entities. Bibliomancy. This one's fun. Anybody got a book handy next to them? Anybody? Bibliomancy is freaking awesome. Okay, so you grab a book, any book. All right, I've got a book in front of me right now that says The Book of Awakening. And I'm going to do a bibliomancy reading for Lisa Garul. So I just kind of flip to a random page, kind of don't look down, put my hand somewhere randomly on that page and read. Suddenly, finally, I began to weep loudly as the pockets of fear and pain and exhaustion escaped. All right. So what I would do from landing on that sentence, my reading for Lisa in bibliomancy would be to say, this is a time for you to release things, okay? Don't hold it in. Don't let these feelings and emotions build up in you. Let these things, the pockets of fear and pain and exhaustion, escape. Let it go. That's a bibliomancy reading. You can do this with any book on anything. Okay, and you just kind of feel it. You stop when you're ready. You hover your hand, close your eyes, and put your hand down on the page. And my reading is, I keep hauling in shells and pearls and seaweed from a common depth that no one can see. And then I spend time cleaning what I found and hearing what it has to say. And to me, that says it's time for me to kind of, like, as I'm collecting all of these pieces of information, things from nature, I need to make sure I'm cleansing these energies and hear what people are saying to me. That's a bibliomancy reading for me. Any book that hits, Lisa's saying right there, that hits. That's bibliomancy, guys. Does not take a shit ton of learning or even psychic gift. Anybody can do that. Who wants to try a bibliomancy right now? Tell me, give me a reading. Come on, I'm curious. Somebody give me a reading. Try it out. Okay? Capnomancy. I love this one. Okay? This actually is a weird word for something that's actually quite common. Again, divination using smoke. All right? This is great with things like incense or, you know, even smoke from cigarettes or smoke from sage. You divine using the smoke by looking at the thickness, the direction of the smoke, and even shapes in the smoke to predict future events, provide answers, questions, whatever. Okay? Now we're getting into my absolute number one favorite form of spiritual gift and divination, cartomancy. Cartomancy. Can anybody guess what cartomancy is? Would the word cards be in there anywhere? It's a form of divination using cards. You can use cards like Tarot, Oracle, even playing cards. Any cards that are out there. Each card has a specific meaning, or a way for you to interpret, and you can use these things to divine past, present, and future events. Now, what happens if you're trying to do cartomancy and you don't have a fucking clue what the meaning of the said cards are? Well, that's where you just follow your intuition. Like if you're using a tarot cards and you've never read tarot in your damn life and you have no idea what it means, look at the pictures. How does it make you feel? What does it remind you of? You know? Easy enough. You don't have to literally know the meaning of jack shit in order to use cartomancy. Okay? You just, you say, look at it and say, okay, how does this look? How does this make me feel? What does this resonate within me? Okay? Now, another one that's a fun one, but again, it should be used under protective guidance for oneself in a protective circle, is captromancy. Or catoptromancy. That's a very fancy word. Catoptromancy. Fancy word for using a mirror. Okay. Scrying, using a mirror. Looking at visions or symbols that appear in a mirror surface. The way I normally call it, which I don't like the fancy catoptromancy. That's a tongue twister for me. Fuck that shit. I just simply say scrying with a mirror. Okay? Now, cosmomancy. That's a form of divination that is based on the behavior of objects when thrown into a fire. Okay? So when you throw something into a fire, how does it melt? How does it burn? The flames, the smoke are interpreted to answer questions to predict the future. So you can actually take bay leaves. This is one of my favorite ways of doing cosmomancy. Okay, is to take bay leaves and throwing bay leaves or sage into a fire and seeing how those things go, and or what you guys have seen me do many a time. Pyromancy is another way of calling this one, which is how I normally refer to it as pyromancy, which is, you set shit on fire and how it burns is how the divination goes. If any of you guys have ever been on my Dancing with Witches live psychic show, and see one of the spells, you'll see that I am literally using this form of divination when casting spells. Hello, Mary Sharkus. How you doing, babe? If any of you guys have tried any of these, let me know, okay, and how it works for you. Okay. Cephalomancy. Used to use a head. This is an old one, and it made it to my comprehensive list, but because it came up. It's a form of divination using a skull or a head, normally traditionally of a donkey or a goat, okay? It's used to understand the head or mind of a situation. The way that cephalomancy is used most times nowadays is with crystal skulls or other skull kind of shaped crystals or skull shaped objects to kind of turn around and trance out. Oh, am I saying it wrong, Mary? Because it looks like Mary Sharkus. I can't think of another way to say it. Mary Sharkus. It's like, you're a shark. Babe, Mary Sharkus, do-do-do-do-do-do. Mary Sharkus, do-do-do-do-do-do. Mary Sharkus, do-do-do-do-do-do. Mary Sharkus. Sorry, had to do it. But yes, you can turn around, and I don't know if you've heard of Max the Crystal Skull, but many people feel like they hear messages from the skulls, feel messages. I have a crystal skull that is made out of rose quartz. Her name is Maxine. She gives me messages and energy too, as well. Okay. So that is cephalomancy. Okay. Ceromancy is a fun one. First time I really did ceromancy was actually with an egg after doing a Olympia cleaning. But this is dropping something into water. Sometimes it's done with casting lead, and that's a traditional thing over in Germany. I got to do it with one New Year. You cast the ceromancy. You take melted lead and drop it into water. But any other metal that will melt at a low temperature and become solid again, you can do it using wax, candle wax, dropping candle wax into water. Also, like dropping the egg, like cracking the egg after Olympia, and putting it into the water. That's also a form of ceromancy, even though the egg does not harden up. You're still looking at the patterns of the objects dropped into water. Another fun one that I found at one point is if you ever have coffee, okay, and put it into one of those clear cups, like the kind of cups that you can put like a Irish coffee in that you get at if you go somewhere and they give you the clear coffee cup, and you pour creamer into that and just kind of zone out and watch the patterns that the creamer creates. Channeling, very, very, very dangerous to channel. Should not be done unless under very certain circumstances and by an experienced practitioner, because this is literally allowing something or someone to come in and talk through you, okay? You can literally see a physical change many times come over a person, but this is them letting go of their kind of like even they're letting go of their own body and letting something come in and talk through or take over their body. They're channeling another entity, spirit entity, intelligence, divinity, so on and so forth. Again, only to be used under extreme protective circumstances. I had a person who was a friend who did a whole lot of channeling, and it completely changed who she was. It changed her aspect. It changed her behavior, and she actually became permanently inhabited by a negative entity. And I am obviously no longer friends with this person, and I heard about this person after a few years, about 3 or 4 years of not talking to this person, and after they caused problems, and I literally heard back that this person is still fucking up their entire life because they still have this entity that's basically riding shotgun in her, you know? Chakra balancing, aka chakra manipulation, chakra reading, all of the above. Chakras are energy centers in the body that are focused in and talked about Reiki, talked about in Kundalini, and many of the Eastern practices. Chakra and ki actually are both kind of interchangeable in some ways. Chakras specifically came from a Sanskrit word, so the chakras themselves are based in India, but you will see them across the board. These chakras enhance physical, emotional, spiritual well-being. When you have blocks in your chakra, you will see physical, emotional, and spiritual problems in people's lives when these chakras are drained, out of balance, gunked up, all the above, okay? Chiromancy, commonly known as palmistry. I was out with my friends the other day and we were starting to talk about it, and I was talking about how my coven was really, and Mary, if you're having difficulty, get a chakra balancing with me and we'll get you started, and then you can maintain rather than try to start from scratch. But we were talking about palmistry, okay? And they're like, oh, is it real? And I'm like, yeah, it is. And do you know how to do it? Yeah, but this is not my favorite, but I know how to do it. And so somebody threw their palm out at me, and it's like, I thought you only had 2 kids. I didn't know you had one that you lost. And sure enough, because she's around my age, and sure enough, she had a miscarriage at one point, and that we talked about, and yeah, it's like that was a shorter child line, and then I'm like, oh, this person wasn't your first husband, were they? And they're just looking at me like, you're getting all that just from looking at my palm. Yes. Okay, so that's chiromancy or palmistry, okay? And they reveal potential life paths. I've had some great palm readings done, and it's a beautiful thing. There's a lot of people who are bullshit with this, but hey, it is. Clairsalience, which is a psychic ability of sensing smells that are not physically present. I smell my grandfather's pipe. Okay, you're receiving messages from the spiritual realm. Maybe grandpa's trying to tell you something. So I smell my grandpa's pipe, or that's my mother's perfume, or I smell smoke burning, like there's a fire. I smell something. The smells that you pick up, this is one of the clairs. This is one of those things that, it's not physically present. all the clair shit is stuff that's not physically present, but that somehow you're picking up. Today it was weird smells, Mary Sharkus. Okay, so what kind of smells were you getting, and did they have messages with them? Clairaudience, okay? Can you kind of put that one together? Clair, things that are not physically present. Audience, hearing sounds, voices, messages. I heard my grandmother speaking to me. I heard the angel say, turn left instead of turn right. I heard a voice that said, be at peace, my child. You know, those things, those are hearing voices, hearing things that aren't physically present. Does not necessarily mean you are a cuckoo in the Cocoa Puffs, okay? This is an actual psychic ability. Unfortunately, a lot of these psychic abilities kind of get categorized by the mainstream people of, oh, that's a weirdo shit. You know, they're crazy. No, you're not crazy. You're just experiencing clairaudience. This is the 17th is your deceased husband's birthday. You believe he's here visiting, so you're smelling some of the old smells. So you're picking up on his spiritual presence through smells. Excellent, Mary Sharkus. Okay. Claircognizance. Can anybody guess what claircognizance is? Again, clair, something not physically present. Anytime we're talking about the clairs, okay, things that are not physically, actually, literally present. Cognizance. That's a knowing. That's a clear knowing, okay? Clair actually means clear, but that's a clear knowing, which is having knowledge. Things you have no business knowing about the past, present, or future, and no idea knowing where, why, how. You just know. You know that you know you know. You're always here. Your daughter that passed is calling me. You always hear that your daughter passed calling me, Mom, Mom, Mom. That is a clairaudience. Excellent, Lisa. Clair empathy. So many of you who come and hang out with me, and everybody, literally everybody who ends up joining the circle ends up being a clair empath, just into some way, sense, or person or another. Can anybody guess what a clair empath? Oh, your senses tell you about a person who needs help. Well, Mary Sharkus, I think we might be talking about you. Clair empathy. This is a psychic ability that involves the sensing and understanding of the emotions of other people. It is a very deep form of empath. It transcends the normal, like, oh, I empathize with you. It's like, no, you feel this like it was your own feelings. You just look at that person, touch that person, think of that person, whatever, and you are in their emotional experience, almost as if it was your very own. They don't, you walk in, you touch somebody, you're in a great mood, and then you touch somebody who's in a bad mood, and all of a sudden you feel all that negativity in bed. Yes, it can be very draining, and learning how to put up boundaries, learning how to put up self-protections, very, very helpful with that. Okay, clairgustance. Okay, this one's going to be a little bit harder for you guys to kind of figure out what that one is. This is involving tasting something that isn't physically present. It's like the clairsalience, which is the smelling. We were just talking about that with Lisa. But again, tasting something. Tasting, like I just have a taste in my mouth of bitter, or a taste of sweet, or a taste of this or that, and it brings messages with it. Tasting the bitterness, I somehow out of nowhere I have a bitterness on my tongue that maybe is warning me that the words that are coming out of somebody's mouth or their aura, their energy is bitter. It's wrong. It's bad. Tastes sweet. This is a good path to go on. I'm tasting sweetness on my tongue. You're not eating anything yet. You taste stuff. Okay? You can get messages, impressions from taste. Clairsentience. This one's kind of fun. This involves feeling or sensing the emotions, energies, and physical sensations of others. It goes not just into the clair empathy, but the actual, this is something that is used very much when you're doing Reiki in a technique called hollow body. Okay? You are using clairsentience when you are using hollow body. You are feeling, you can tell they're lying from taste. Absolutely, Mary. But when you're doing clairsentience, it's like, oh, all of a sudden I'm tuning into Mary. Can I tune into you for a second? I tune into Mary, and for some reason I'm like my spine is feeling very, very creaky, Mary. So I'm feeling like, sit up, girl, sit up and change your posture. Okay. Your spine is extremely creaky right now. It's like the back pain kind of thing, almost arthritic in nature, just inflamed and creaky back. That's just the first thing that just jumped out at me. That's clairsentience. That's turning around and literally feeling somebody else's pain. And then you got to let it go, so that I'm no longer feeling Mary's poor spine that does not feel very happy right now. This is a technique that is frequently and often used in Reiki. And Mary's like, yes, very true. Her spine hurts today. Okay. So there you go. Next one is clairtangency or clairsensitivity, also known as psychometry. How many of you guys have heard about that? That is gaining information about an object or a person through touch. Okay, hand me your grandma's ring, and I can tell you about some of the experiences that were had. Oh, you have RA, rheumatoid arthritis, and fibromyalgia. No wonder I was picking that arthritic thing up from you. Yucky. I'm sorry for you. That hurt. That's clairsentience. But clairsensitivity, okay, clairtangency. That's again clairtangent, touch, tangent, okay? So you hand me an object, and this is where, psychics who like hand me a thing belonging to a person, and I can tell you about the person. I can tell you about where this object has been. I can use this as a connection to the person to maybe find them. A lot of clairtangents or clairsensitives don't like touching things and people, because this does work with people too. Okay, you go up and you touch somebody and it's like, whoa, totally didn't want to know about that, thank you. Oversharing. You'll find that people who have clairtangency are like, don't touch me. Where am I located? I'm in Rochester, New York. Where are you located? So let's go into clairvoyance. This is the one that people talk about so much. Clairvoyance, the sixth sense, the ability to sense events, objects, people, and symbols that are not perceptible to the physical senses. This clairvoyance kind of like covers all the clairs. You're clairvoyant. What type of clairvoyant? Well, it's this, okay? So clairvoyance is kind of like the umbrella. Oversharing's a big problem for you. You're in Northern Maine. You're not too far away, Mary. Trust me, you're never oversharing to me, sweetheart. I will tell you if you're oversharing. You're fine. But yes, clairvoyance is kind of like the all-interpretive. This is like if somebody says, oh, you're a clairvoyant of some type. Yeah, that's just kind of like the umbrella term for all the clairs. Clairomancy is a divination by casting lots. I started out with this as a kid. I used to see patterns when I would use my tiddlywinks. Anybody remember tiddlywinks? Clairomancy also is casting the bones, casting dice, casting crystals, casting charms, any kind of taking things, normal objects, and throwing them and being able to receive divination messages through this random grasping and throwing of all the stuff on the floor or on a reading spot, whatever. Okay. This one is a little bit harder to kind of teach to others because it really requires a spiritual gift of the psychic gift to really interpret. Other people look at it and say, I don't see shit. Really don't. The only time that clairomancy is really easy to teach is when you are using specific symbols, such as runes, or charms, and each charm has a specific meaning. I have somebody who's part of the circle, or has been part of the circle, and she casts what she calls casting the bones, and there are some bones in there, but a lot of the other things she has in there are charms. She calls it casting the bones. That's great, but she's casting charms, and that's a clairomancy thing. Okay. Cromneomancy, this one's fun. Okay, I personally have tried it once, and that was like, yeah, no, I'm over it. The sprouting patterns of onion bulbs, or to interpret the patterns in cut onions. Now, I've normally seen this one in cut onions, that when you cut the onion in half and you stare at the onion for a little bit and you see the different things, Oh, yeah, not you, strangers. Yes, that happens to a lot of empaths, okay? They see us and they see that emotional understanding that we have, and they come up and start telling their life stories. Yes, happens to me all the fucking time. And once they know I'm a witch, then it's like they're not only telling me about stuff, but they're telling me that I need to help them fix this shit. Okay? No, not necessarily. I can tell you about your shit. But yes, the onion thing, the cromneomancy is, I just couldn't, my senses could not take it. It was cool. I could do it, but there are so much cooler ways to actually interpret things rather than cutting onions and making yourself cry. Crystal healing and crystal therapy. That is another kind of thing, and it goes into crystalmancy. Okay. Also crystal gazing, seeing visions, insights, looking into a crystal ball, feeling the energies of crystals, casting crystals, which kind of comes into that claromancy that we were talking about earlier. Your family's from Salem. That's awesome. Okay, but you can use those visions, and also one of the most famous ones is looking into a crystal ball. Now, does a crystal ball have to be clear? Fuck no. I find it better actually when it's not clear, when you have little inclusions, or even staring at what the wolf calls my magical ball of shit, which is a big opaque ball of obsidian, mahogany obsidian, that you can look into it and kind of zone out. And again, this requires a little bit of psychic gift there, okay? Dactylomancy, that's a form of divination using rings and looking at the position, movement, or symbols in or on the ring. And you can do that by casting, you can do that by feeling. There's a million different ways that can be interpreted. How about deja vu? Any of you guys ever had deja vu? Deja vu all over again. That is a sensation that you've already experienced a current event. Like, why am I reliving an event I've already lived? Wait a second, this is really fucking familiar. Hey, this is going to happen next. It's not normally considered a form of divination. However, it is a sign that you might have some precognition or some clairvoyance of some kind. Okay. Well, Mary, that's something that we can tell through different kinds of divinations, that we could definitely look to divine that at some point, through any of these styles of psychic divination. But when you're experiencing deja vu, it is a sign of precognition, clairvoyance. Many times people say, oh, deja vu is confirming that I am on the right path, or the foreseen path. Take your pick. All right. So that is deja vu all over again. Demonomancy. Oh my God. Did she just go there? Yeah. Sid, are you still here? This is one for you, my friend. This involves summoning demons to answer questions or perform tasks. It's also often associated with darker forms of magic and divination. But basically, asking things of the underworld to answer a question. Very, very, very dangerous. Do not recommend unless you are really initiated into that form of magic and know damn well how to contain said demon and how to protect yourself. Is this a real thing? Fuck yeah. Have you done it, Shiya? Yeah. I've also cast demons right the fuck back where they came from when somebody sent them at me. So yes, demons are real. Are they necessarily demons? Are all the things that are demonized necessarily demons? No, maybe they're just negative entities, whatever. But we identify with them as demons, so that's what they are. Is it the way the church says? No. But, it had to come from somewhere, right? Mary says, I can think of someone and they'll call me with most of the information of what I was going to ask them, especially your kids and siblings. That is a form of telecommunication kind of thing, to where you're telepathy. You are kind of reaching out and thinking of that person and sending energy to that person. And it's a combination between a telepathy and a manifestation. You turn around and ask that person telepathically to give you a holler and tell you the shit that you need to hear. Okay? And so the closer you are with somebody and have an ongoing connection with that person, the easier it is to do. Okay? Divination in general is a broad term that covers all the practices that are aimed at discovering future events, hidden knowledge. You can do in a lot of these different divination techniques I've been talking about today, and divination is a common word that I use. Dowsing, which there's this fancy word for it, radiesthesia, okay? Which dowsing, you can use a pendulum or divining rod to locate things such as water, mineral, other hidden objects. I did a dowsing for a friend who was a hoarder, and their cat, who was very ill. I had gone off to find a place in this very, very hoarded house to die, and could not be found, would not come out. And I was like, okay, fine, I will come over. And I used my pendulum to isolate the room that the cat was in and the general area that the cat was. And the friend insisted, no, he's not in there. I've already looked in there several times. I'm like, no, he's in here. And in fact, he's back over there. Just go digging and you'll find him. So I went outside, of course, and sat down while the friend dug for the cat. And there was the cat, very ill and in the process of transitioning. And we were able to spend some time with him and take some pictures of them together, and then took him to the vet to end his suffering from ongoing kidney issues and stuff like that. But we were able to find and end the suffering of this poor cat, using dowsing and using a pendulum. Now, honestly, I think that's the best use for pendulum. Many people use the pendulum for like a Ouija board kind of style thing. And again, do not recommend inviting unknown spirits in and around you, okay, when you're trying to like channel anything or talk to spirits and stuff like that without extreme protection and knowledge, okay? Not for the untrained. I'm not going to say uninitiated because, most people these days are self-initiated, whatever, but the untrained and the unaware should not be doing any kind of calling on spirits, honestly. Dream interpretation. This is about analyzing the symbols and themes in dreams to understand their meanings. Now, there's lots of books about dream interpretation. You open it up and you look up snakes, and it says, ooh, snake can be this, or it can be that, or it can be this, or it can be that. Okay? Now, everybody can do their own dream interpretation to some effect, because dreams are very personal. The more you can remember on your dreams, the more you can turn around and work on your own dream interpretation. However, sometimes we are way too far in our own heads to truly analyze the symbols and themes in your dreams. So finding people who are gifted in dream interpretation, aka my wolf, is very, very gifted in dream interpretation. They can help you reveal those unconscious thoughts, emotions, or even prophetic messages to kind of accessing your subconscious or whatever your dream was fucking trying to tell you. Okay? Now, I did mention that this teaching today was not just on spiritual gifts, but also practices. So we're going to get into some of the practices as we're going through our alphabetical list. And the first one's going to be Druidism. This is referring specifically to the religious practices, beliefs, cultural systems of the ancient Celtic Druids. This covers not just everybody thinks of Druids and they think of England. No, they have Germanic all the way through. There is Druidry all the way through Western Europe. Okay, all the way through Western Europe and into the Gauls even went all the way into Spain. So yes, there were Spanish Druids too, guys. Okay, not just Celtic Druids, but yes, many times people are talking about Celtic Druidism, and the Neo-Druidism is part of the Neo-Pagan movement, and many times incorporates simply the Celtic, Irish kind of area, not so much the Germanic, not so much the Nordic, but all of those paths and areas had practices of types of Druidism in it, okay? But it's one of the most heavy influencers of neo-paganism, neo-heathenism, neo-Nordic, neo-witchcraft, that sort of thing. The Celtic Druidism and the Western European old paths are some of the heaviest influences on modern paganism. Empathy. Empathy in general is the ability to understand and share the feelings of another. It's not specifically a psychic ability. The clair empathy is a psychic ability. Clair empaths will experience this on a much deeper and psychic level, whereas I think all of us can express empathy. Hey, I understand what you're going through. I can commiserate with the fact that you lost your mom, because I lost my mom, and we can talk about that. I can empathize with the fact that you are a cancer survivor. I too survived cancer, or I had a family or a friend that survived cancer that I kind of rode that journey with, so I can kind of understand that a little bit. We're going to get into dreaming. Dream of strangers is big for you. Yeah, your past life could be definitely those people for sure, but lucid dreaming is definitely a thing. Energy clearing and energy cleansing. This is involving the removal or balance of negative or stagnant energy from a person, place, or object. Different things can be used, like smudging, sound therapy, visualization techniques, Reiki. This is where we get into all those different forms of healing, theta, quantum, take your thing. But it's basically being able to sense the energy of another person and manipulate their energy. This is a psychic gift or a spiritual gift. Mary, can you reach my energy on what kind of person I am as an empath, a good witch? Look, a good witch or a bad witch, it's just like being a good person or a bad person. That's a choice, But yes, I can definitely do that. Sure, not a problem. That's easy enough to do. Exorcism. All right. Now, many people think of the Catholic Church when they hear this. Okay. But exorcism has been practiced for millennia, more so outside the church than in. They just turned around and made a movie about the church's way of doing it. And of course, the church likes to over-ritualize everything, and everything's demons. But it's just about getting rid of negative or malicious entities or energies. Okay. This has been done. Shamanism were the first exorcists. Shamans were the first exorcists. There's a bad energy around you. Okay. You go to Central America nowadays and get a limpia. That's where they run the egg on you. That's a type of exorcism. Okay. They're pulling out the bad spirits. All right. They are, they'll beat you with eucalyptus and herbs. I mean, they will literally, you get them, they'll spit on you. They'll beat the crap out of you with this bundle of herbs. They'll run an egg all over you. And all of this is to get the bad juju off your ass. Okay. So that's an exorcism. Okay. It can take a whole lot of things. The modern Pentecostals, for example, do a form of exorcism. They call that, I forget what they call it. It starts with a D that they call it. Deliverance. That's it. Deliverance. And if you look it up, you can go on the internet and look up deliverance ministry. And they are delivering you from the bad spirits, from a spirit of rejection, a spirit of rebellion. That's their deliverance ministry kind of thing. Okay. So that is absolutely still very much practiced today. It's not this in nomine patris, the power of Christ compels you. Or let's tune into what's that one? I love it. Whatchamacallit? I can't think of the name of it, but Neo / can't even think of John Wick Neo guy who plays that one. I've got my brain in a different track, and he plays Constantine. That's it. Constantine was doing a whole bunch of exorcisms and shit like that, So that is definitely a thing. And is it real? Fuck yes. Thank you, Amy Ross. Got it. Constantine. She picked up my brain waves. Thank you, dear. Words don't always come, especially when I am like really connecting into the spiritual side of stuff. Feng Shui. Who's heard of Feng Shui? Also known as geomancy. This is using objects, and it's an ancient Chinese practice, but geomancy is used across the board to organize one's environment, objects in one's environment, shit like that, to promote health, wealth, and good fortune. You strategically place different objects and structures to balance the flow of energy and qi. Now, Feng Shui experts who actually follow the Chinese practice of Feng Shui, they will tell you, and I have a friend who's a wonderful Feng Shui expert, who says, okay, you put these kinds of objects in this area and these kind of objects in this area, and this in your house is lacking this here in order to create the right flow of qi through your home and to bring prosperity, so on and so forth. Does it work? Fuck yeah. Can you just do it just by not even worrying about this quadrant and that quadrant and just go with, okay, this feels good when I put it here? Yes, I do that with my altars. Okay, I do that with my grids, my crystal grids. This feels like it goes here and this feels like it goes here. And as I do that, I feel the energy shift because I've moved these objects in different places. Okay. Gyromancy. Okay. This is a divination. It involves divination by walking in a circle that's marked with letters until you're dizzy. Okay. And then interpreting the letters near where you fall. This is kind of like using a human Ouija board. Okay. You can also use a spinning pointer, that sort of thing. But this is like turning yourself into a planchette on a human Ouija board. Okay. So I don't necessarily recommend it because I personally don't like being dizzy that much. Okay, we already talked about spiritual cleansing and energy cleansing, healing, and it can be like a laying on of hands. Healing is another practice. Various practices aimed at restoring physical, emotional, spiritual well-being. Okay, this is faith healing, Reiki healing, energy healing, laying on of hands, praying for somebody. All of this shit is very, very fucking real, people. No shit, Sherlock. Okay. By the way, guys, don't forget to hit that little like and love button, please and thank you. And like I said, at any point during this video, if you have a question or commentary on any of these things that we're going through, do so. I would like to, this is again a preview of Shiya's Mentorship Circle. This is my teaching time for Shiya's Mentorship Circle. And for those of you guys who are unfamiliar with it, here's a little bit about my Mentorship Circle. And we will continue on through our list shortly. Have you been wanting to grow in your spiritual path? It's time to join the circle. Shiya's Mentorship Circle is a place where we can learn and grow together. It's a private community that's committed to spiritual growth, group support, and learning. You can learn at your own pace with 24/7 access to a wide range of topics presented through videos, writings, and original content on all kinds of spiritual topics, and access to my ever-growing Book of Shadows. All spiritual paths and walks of life are welcome in this circle. On top of all that, Mentorship Circle members get free readings every Monday on my live show, discounts on live readings and workshops, classes, group therapy, and group chats for support and direct mentoring. Join today, get connected, and start living your best life. Learn more at LadyShiya.com. Oh, we've still got much to cover, Lisa. You don't feel like such a weird person anymore because people who have spiritual inclinations and spiritual gifts will experience many of these. Herbology is another practice that is the study. It's an actual more of a science herbology than a metaphysical, but the herbology combined, the science combined with the metaphysical can make things extra potent. That's the study and use of medicinal plants. Our first pharmacologists. This is all the people, like most of the people, that got burnt at the stake back in the day. Hey, Sun Moon. They were mostly herbologists, Chinese traditional medicine, or Ayurveda practitioners. They use herbal remedies. I've got a friend that does combo. Those are herbal things that will create a psychic experience. powwows like with peyote and stuff like that. Those are using herbologies for psychic and spiritual experiences as well. That sort of thing. Lisa, every time you try to talk about anything, people look at you differently. Well, that's why I have the mentorship circles, because there we can talk about anything and people aren't going to look at you like you're cray-cray. They're going to look at you like, oh, tell me more. Okay, getting into the next thing, high magic or ritual magic. That is a form of using complex rituals and ceremonies. Okay, the biggest and most predominant high magic or ritual magic that's out there is the Catholic Church. They stole all these things and tried to make it into peyotes in your bucket list. Talk to the wolf about that one, Amy, before you go anywhere near it. But they are big on the whole Eucharist thing. Is a ritual magic, high magic, the transformation of the body and the blood, that sort of thing, symbolistic, highly symbolized. The Kabbalah, Jewish, the original like high magic in some people's respect was the Kabbalah. Kabbalistic magic is the Jewish mysticism. You look at some of the high rituals and magic of Egypt. They had a lot of high magic and stuff in there. Okay. It is not, it's a lot of very ornate symbols, drawing on philosophical, religious elements. You can do things like conjure spirits, divination, astral projection, etc. They've got a ritual for fucking everything. This is contrasted with like low or folk magic, which is more of what one calls sympathetic magic. This is like, definitely must put one foot here, put the other foot there, draw this symbol in the air, but only in that way, and only with the middle finger extended, with the right finger extended such and such a way. And, all the alchemy stuff, like if any of you guys are fans of Full Metal Alchemist. Full Metal Alchemist is a anime version of high magic or ritual magic to create the things that they are doing in that alchemy world. Okay? Horoscopy or horoscopy. Take your pick. You say tomato, I say tomato. That is interpreting astrological charts to predict future events or tendencies. You can do a horoscope. That's a birth chart is a horoscope, a natal chart. Okay, but you can do what I do every day, which I've been posting them every day, which is, and make sure that you're following my page to see them on Facebook. But I'm posting every day. Hey, these are the general astrological bullshits that are going on around us. Deal with it. All right. That's a horoscope. And you can do it per sign, which is probably the more detailed because each sign kind of interprets these energies, or you can do the more generic general shit that I've been doing, which is, hey, this is what's going on in the stars. These are the overall energies, and how you're going to interpret it. It's how you're going to interpret it. So it's going to be raining outside. It may be drizzling in this area. It may be a downpour in this area, but it's going to be raining outside. It's going to be rainy and humid. So be aware. Go out rainy and humid. Expect wet-ish weather. Okay? How you want to deal with it? Take an umbrella, take a raincoat, or just fucking get wet. Who cares? It's up to you, kind of thing. That's the way I do it. Speaking of getting wet, hydromancy. That's divination by observing water, including its movements, its patterns, its properties, sometimes even its taste. Okay, you can also involve the images and symbols that are seen in water. Okay, all of these different things. Using water to divine things. It's a beautiful thing because water does hold energy, folks. That's why we have moon water and blessed water and holy water and all this other stuff. Water is life, folks. And water, look up the science of it. It's quite interesting. Water holds energy, and they have done some science of it from different waters and different things. Those of you who are in the mentorship circle, go in the spells guide and look up the simple water ritual of how to reclaim using water, how to reclaim your own energies, and how to get rid of negative or unwanted energy. This is also part of hydromancy, okay? The manipulation of water. Hypnosis. You're getting very sleepy. You are going to do everything I fucking tell you to do. This is the practice of putting somebody into a trance-like state. It is very difficult for other people to hypnotize me. I can only do self-hypnosis because I just don't trust other people well enough, okay? You can use this, though, to unlock your subconscious, uncover hidden memories, promote healing, suggest behavioral changes. It's very often used as part of a therapy, but it can be used as part of a spiritual or magical practice. Again, you have to allow yourself to be hypnotized. There are some people like, oh, you can't hypnotize me. And they may have very strong mental barriers that don't allow people to hypnotize them. Whereas I've had some people like, oh, you can't hypnotize me, and poof, they're out. They're gone. Here you go. Oh, wow. Are you out already? Yo, wow. Okay, I thought you said I couldn't hypnotize you. That took like half a second, And you can, it says that the old wives' tale, and it is mostly true, is that you cannot force somebody to do something that goes against their core nature. Okay? You can make somebody cluck like a chicken and act the fool. But if doing any of that goes against, like, say, you're going to tell somebody to get up and give a public speech, but their core nature is introvert, you're probably not going to be able to get them to do it. But if they believe that they're in private, then maybe they would. That sort of thing. Intuition. This is another one. We always talk about follow your intuition. Follow your intuition. This is the knowing or the sensing of something without any kind of rational process whatsoever. This is something I think damn near everybody has. They just need to fucking tune into it. It's natural. It's an instinctive thing. Following your intuition. This is right. This is kind of like, what is your intuition? Are you using your psychic abilities? Are you using your subconscious? Are you using the things that you have subconsciously seen and absorbed from the world around you? Whatever. The answer to that is yes. Absolutely. It's all of these things combined into just one big umbrella bucket list kind of thing called intuition. Okay? Kabbalah. We're talking about this when we're talking about high magic. This is a form of Jewish mysticism, is a high magic style mysticism. Interprets the Old Testament Bible or the Torah on a very deep and very symbolic level. It is a magical path of understanding the hidden aspects of God, the cosmos, the human soul, everything. There are some non-Jewish adaptations of the Kabbalah, which are used in some Western high magic mystical traditions. Some that like incorporate some elements of the Kabbalah are the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn, the Masonic Lodge. Has elements of the Kabbalah in it, high magic and things of that nature. Now, also some of these things like the Golden Dawn and we'll get high magic practices from many other paths, not just that one, but that is incorporated into it somewhat. Levitation. Okay. Rare, but it does happen. I've had it happen to me once in my life. This is the phenomenon of a person or an object floating in the air without any physical support. And I'm not talking about the magician is floating the lady and is using a trick to do it. I'm talking about the literal feeling of being up off the floor. Now, can I say that for sure I was up off the floor? No, I can't. Can I say it fucking felt like I was up off the floor? Yeah, I can. I don't know if that was real or what. It's happened to me once. It's, I've also, has anybody played that game as a child? Light as a feather, stiff as a board. Light as a feather, stiff as a board. Light as a feather, stiff as a board. And you use two fingers and you surround a person who's laying on the ground and you kind of chant that and chant that and chant that. And everybody uses only two fingers of one hand and you lift the person up off the floor using just two fingers, and there are like 4 or 5 people that will do this and lift up the person. I did that as kids and it fucking worked. All right, this is a form of levitation. Okay, now you can make a kind of a case of, well, that was several people lifting, but let me tell you, I don't care how light the fucking person is, trying to pick up a person and balance a person with 2 fingers while they are somehow staying completely stiff as a board and not moving and experiencing a type of paralysis and a bunch of kids lifting people with 2 fingers. How many of you guys say, oh yeah, we did this as kids? How many of you were successful with it? Okay, I got in major trouble for teaching all of my cousins to do this at a family reunion of my extremely religious family. But you know what? The fuck, it worked. It worked. Just saying. Libanomancy. Okay, libanomancy involves interpreting shapes, movements, and scents of incense smoke. Now, we talked about this earlier, that it has other names to it, but yes, you've had it done before, like a feather. Yes, light as a feather, stiff as a board. Light as a feather, stiff as a board. Lithomancy. That's casting stones and crystals. That's another way of, we talked about this one. Like I said, some of these have different names, so I made sure on my comprehensive list. And again, if you want to read through this list on your own, it is available in Shiya's Mentorship Circle. Now, we talked about earlier mediumship, and we were talking about this with afterlife communication. Not all mediums can talk to the dead, but all the people who talk to the dead are a type of medium. Now, I am what you call a all-encompassing medium. I can talk to the dead, I can talk to spirits, whatever. But it's not just spirits of the deceased. Mediumship is being able to talk to and communicate with all kinds of shit that we can't see. You can't see it, I can talk to it, that's mediumship. Okay, that is interpreting and hearing, literally being able to communicate with the shit that is not physically tangible, such as dead people, gods, goddesses, fairies, energies, entities, angels. Take your pick. You can't see it and you can talk to it? Well, that's mediumship, okay? How about this one? This one everybody loves. Manifestation. All right, manifestation is very much a psychic gift, for sure. This is a practice of bringing something tangible into your life, some kind of tangible, something or another, change, whatever. Laws of attraction, okay? Vision boards, spell work. All of this is manifestation, and it's making a desired outcome, effectively manifesting it in reality. Okay? This is very much part of law of attraction. Okay? Oh, wow. I gotta fix my word program here. There we go. Okay. Metascopy is a form of divination that it involves interpreting lines on the forehead or the face. Okay? Now, over time, we get more and more lines in our faces, right? Well, many of you are involving yourself, and every day you walk up, you meet somebody, and you are actually reading the lines in a person's face to tell, are they genuinely a happy person? Are they genuinely a sad person? You look at the crinkles around their eyes, and you are interpreting the lines on their face, and creases in their forehead. Okay? You are probably using metascopy every fucking day without even knowing it. You walk up and you look at somebody's face and you make a judgment on that person. And you're like, oh, I'm using my intuition. Well, the specific intuition that you're using when you're studying a person's face to really understand them is you are being a metascope. You are being a metascope. Oh my God, all of y'all are doing metascopy. You're a metascope. Okay? You walk up, you look at somebody, and you just read their face. How many of you guys do that? All of you do it. I know all of you do it. Okay? You do it, whether you're recognizing it or not. So next time you walk up and meet a new person or even an old person, study their face and say, you know what? I'm going to do a little bit of metascopy right now. Hey, can I do some metascopy on you? And people look like, who's a what's a now? I'm just going to read your face. No worries. You're already doing it. You're doing it every fucking day. Nature communion. Ooh, one of my absolute favorites. Those of us who have that natural gift to be able to go in tune with earth. I did a beautiful reel that we'll be posting within the next couple of weeks on how to get out there and be in tune with the earth. And I am so excited for when this one comes out. You know what? I'm going to see about maybe y'all want to see a preview of it? I'll see about doing a preview of it for y'all. You want to see a preview of that? Hold on, it'll be a second for me to get it. Let me see. It's in the Witchy Ways folder. And did I call it Connect with Nature? What did I call it? No, I said, did I call it Gaia? Hold space for self-protection. How to be a witch. Was the Gaia one? No, I think Gaia was something different. Ground and center, hold space for self-home protection. Which one did I call it? Feel the earth. That's what I called it. Here we go. I found it. So hold on. Let me do this. I come over here and shut off the background music for a second. And here we go. That'll be posted in Reels sometime. I can't remember what date I have it posted for, but that'll be out there. And that is a way and a description of how to, let me remove this here, how to connect with the earth, how to have that nature communication, you know? And that is a form of a psychic gift, guys. I mean, we're turning around and like, oh, it's all this woo-woo, whatever. No, this is stuff that you're already using it every day. Mary is like in talking about metascopy, says her older sister's good at saying if they're a good person or not just by looking at that person. She's a metascope. Okay. Necromancy. Now, in some ways, if you're a medium, you're involving yourself in some necromancy. Or if you're talking to afterlife communication, okay? That is a type of necromancy. Oh shit. Did Shiya just say she's a necromancer? Oh, did I? Oh shit. Fuck with the necromancers. But yes, necromancy is a form of divination that involves communicating with the dead. Sometimes you can actually now of course we see the necromancy that you see, and it's like, let's dig up bodies and bring people back to life, and let's go all whatchamacallit, what's that? Mary Shelley, Frankenstein. Thank you. Let's do some Frankenstein shit and put it together and it's alive. No. That shit is in sci-fi, guys. Okay. But true necromancy is talking to the dead. Now, can you do necromancy by grabbing the bones of some dead people and using that to help with your divination? And can it be a little bit gory? Yeah, sure. Does it need to be? No. I'm actually doing a little bit of a form of necromancy every time I'm turning around and saying, hey, dead person, come talk to me. That's a form of necromancy. Okay? So, just saying, necromancy is not all evil, raise the dead. That's only in D&D. Okay? I saw a funny D&D post, though, the other day, but you know, why did you choose to become a necromancer for your class? Because I love smiling faces. And then when you look at the dead, you know, like the skeletons, raise the skeletons and stuff, they all look like they have happy faces on because they look like they're laughing and giggling. And like the laughing, dancing skeletons from the Grateful Dead, right? Was the Grateful Dead a necromancy kind of group? Well, they're Grateful Dead. Maybe, I don't know. You know, they're happy. Dancing bears, whatever, dancing skeletons, whatever floats your boat. But yes, that's necromancy. Not so scary, is it? But like, for example, I love hanging out in graveyards. I really do. Don't bother me one bit. I love them. I like it. I love it. Especially our local cemetery here, Mount Hope. Oh my gosh, so historical. So historical. Your husband won't come forward to you 18 months and you haven't dreamed of him. Sometimes they're ready to move on. But also sometimes one of the things that I found as a medium and necromancer, I suppose you could say, is that the dead don't always like bad energy, okay? Also when we're turning around and talking about our grief, that's a bad energy to them, okay? Our sadness and our grief, they don't like that. Also, negative emotions, or what's seen as negative emotions, are very, very poignant, and they will be so strong as to occlude lighter energies like a touch of love or a touch of, hey, let me communicate with the dead. And so we can be so caught up in our grief and our sadness that we are cutting ourselves off from talking to the dead. Okay, that is an entire possibility, which is why when I tell people, if you are trying to call forth your past loved one, sit down and think about all the happy times, sit down and think about the good memories, okay, and send love through that hole in your heart. And let them come back through with that love, because that is a gentle enough energy that will let them come through. But if you're just like, I'm grieving, it makes it really hard to hear them, because grief is for those of us who have lost our husbands, Mary, you and I know just how much that fucking hurts. It is a pain like nothing else, especially when there was love and stuff like that. That is a pain like nothing else I have ever experienced in my life. That's why you have widow brain and stuff like that, 37 years. So you have to be able to set that pain aside, as hard as it is, Mary. He's probably trying to come to you, but you're probably just so swamped with the grief. 18 months is not that long. Seriously. So you got to let go of some of that. And that's hard. So that is the first half of this particular teaching. And the next half we will get into next week, guys. We will be doing this, and this will be posted for prosperity's sake in the Mentorship Circle. If you're not part of the Mentorship Circle, do think about joining, okay? Step into the circle. $15 for your first month, $25 each additional month. We have teachings like this all the time. Sometimes it's videos, sometimes it's written, but they're all there for you to do learning at your own pace. Also, Mentorship Circle members get free readings every Monday. We're also setting up a group therapy very soon, this month actually, and we are doing some awesome work together as far as our group journaling and learning about all of these gifts. So if you're not in the circle, please do check it out, songsofyou.com. I put an awful lot of work into it. Love to see some of you there. It is empaths helping empaths. So here's a little bit about the Mentorship Circle. Have you been wanting to grow in your spiritual path? It's time to join the circle. Shiya's Mentorship Circle is a place where we can learn and grow together. It's a private community that's committed to spiritual growth, group support, and learning. You can learn at your own pace with 24/7 access to a wide range of topics presented through videos, writings, and original content on all kinds of spiritual topics, and access to my ever-growing Book of Shadows. All spiritual paths and walks of life are welcome in this circle. On top of all that, Mentorship Circle members get free readings every Monday on my live show, discounts on live readings and workshops, classes, group therapy, and group chats for support and direct mentoring. Join today, get connected, and start living your best life. Learn more at ladyshiya.com. Welcome, Sharon. We will be doing readings tomorrow night at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And if you guys didn't know, Saturday is actually, technically it's Sunday morning, but it's Saturday night at like 12:30 a.m., which will be Sunday morning, technically, which is why the calendars say, oh, the new moon's on Sunday. No, it's actually, the new moon is Saturday night, overnight, okay? It's in the early morning hours of Sunday morning kind of thing. the way I miss the way we used to do days. Like a new day began at sunrise, or a new day began at sunset. It used to be based on the actual sun, and when the sun rose or set, and that's the beginning of the new day. Nowadays, we have this arbitrary midnight thing, okay, which is just stupid, in my opinion. And it's just like arbitrarily midnight. Oh, 1 minute it's today, the next minute it's tomorrow. Yeah, that makes no fucking sense. It's just like, okay, Wingardium Leviosa, now it's the next day. It makes more sense to have the new day beginning at dawn, in my opinion. But hey, that's just one witch and one witch's opinion. But, Saturday night I will be doing a new moon ritual, okay? New moon ritual and new moon magic. So there we're going to have an extra special, extra live on Saturday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time is when I'm currently planning, but it'll be sometime Saturday night. So check it out. Meanwhile, guys, do go over to ladyshiya.com or songsview.com and learn about joining the mentorship circle if you'd like to learn more and start developing some of your gifts. So Sharon, hopefully you'll come on tomorrow night and we'll get you some guidance, my dear. All right. Meanwhile, merry meet, merry part. Until we merry meet again. Blessed be, everybody.